building in the World Trade Center complex in Lower Manhattan, New York City. The current incarnation is the second building to bear the name and address at that location. The original structure was completed in 1987. That would have been 7 years after the Georgia Guidestones. And destroyed on September 11th, the attacks. The current building opened in 2006. Both buildings were developed by Larry Silverstein, who holds a ground lease for the site of the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey. The original 7 World Trade Center was 47 stories tall, clad in red exterior masonry and occupied a trapezoidal footprint. An elevated walkway connected the building to the World Trade Center Plaza. The building was situated above the consolidated Edison power substation, which imposed unique structural design constraints. When the building opened in 1987, Silverstein had difficulties attracting tenants. In 1988, Solomon Brothers signed a long-term lease and became the main tenants of the building. On September 11, 2001, 7 WTC was damaged by debris when the nearby North Tower of the World Trade Center collapsed. The debris also ignited fires, which continued to burn throughout the afternoon on lower floors of the building. The building's internal fire suppression system lacked water pressure to fight the fires, and the building collapsed completely at 5:21:10 p.m., according to FEMA, while the 2008 NIST study placed the final collapse time at 5:20:52. The collapse began when a critical internal column buckled and triggered structural failure damage. The collapse made the old 7 World Center the first tall building known to have collapsed primarily due to uncontrolled fires, and the first and only steel skyscraper in the world to have collapsed due to fire. And I don't think fire burns that hot, but that's another show altogether. Construction of the new 7 World Trade Center began in 2002 and was completed in 2006. The building is 52 stories tall, plus 1 underground floor, making it the 28th tallest in New York. It is built on a smaller footprint than the original, allowing Greenwich Street to be restored from Tribeca through the World Trade Center site and down to Battery Park. The new building is bounded by Greenwich, Vesey, Washington, and Barclay Streets. The small park across Greenwich Street occupies space that is part of the original building's footprint. The building's design emphasizes safety with a reinforced concrete core, wider stairways, and thicker fire proofing on steel columns. And it incorporates numerous green features. The original building was 47 foot tall. The designers were Emery Roth and Sons. Now, we see that the Solomon Brothers were, the main tenant on the upper floors. They were the largest tenant in the 7 World Trade Center. They had 1,202,900 square feet, 64% of the building. That included floors 28 through 40. There was Hartford Insurance Group, American Express Bank International, Standard Chartered Bank, Securities and Exchange Commission. The Securities and Exchange Commission. Imagine that. Smaller tenants included the Internal Revenue Service Regional Council and the United States Secret Service. Smallest tenants in the New York City Office of Emergency Management, Northern Association of Insurance Commissioners, Federal Home Loan Bank, First State Management Group, Provident Financial Management, and Immigration and Naturalization Service. The Department of Defense and Central Intelligence Agency shared the 25th floor with the IRS. 46th and the 47th floor were mechanical floors and were the bottom 6 floors and part of the 7th floor, as were the bottom 6 floors and part of the 7th. Of course, we know that the North Tower collapsed on September the 11th, 2001. Then, according to most reports. The 7 World Trade Center was damaged on the south face of the building. That started fires that started burning throughout the afternoon. And then the collapse happened when on floor 7 and 17 on the south side between floor 44 and the roof, there was structural damage, large vertical gash near the center of the south face, and the sprinkler system didn't have enough pressure to fight the fire. As we go deeper and deeper and deeper into this study, understanding that I'm going to have to do a third one, and more than likely a fourth and fifth one, because we've only touched the Burj Khalifa, the the 7 World Trade Center. We've only scratched the surface of the 1 World Trade Center, 1,776 feet tall. That's written on a beam inside, by the way, that's signed by Barack Obama. Barack Obama. The News Center is 741 feet tall. 42 floors of leasable space. Now, if you look at the conspiracy theorists, they'll tell you a lot of different things about Building 7, and I don't want to go into that right now. I want to talk about the Solomon brothers, who I believe to be tied in all the way back to history with this financier of George Washington. This Jewish man who financed the Revolutionary War. And going back to Thomas Paine, who was the English political activist and philosopher and political theorist, who actually, his ideas of Enlightenment era rhetoric actually inspired the American Revolution with his pamphlet, The Common Sense, 1776. Just go to Wikipedia and read about Thomas Paine and the Age of Reason, and understand what the Age of Reason actually says. Understand also that his name is spelled P-A-I-N-E. The E was added on later. His original name was just P-A-I-N, Paine. You know what, guys? I think I've done enough for today. I think I'm going to continue this. Let's see. Tomorrow we're going to be talking about the Norway Spiral. Believe it or not, it's got something to do with this. Then the day after that, we're going to talk about Ebola. We're going to talk about not just Ebola. We're going to talk about bubonic plague. We're going to talk about malaria, AIDS. We're going to talk about famines and pestilences in God's words. And this has a lot to do with the Georgia Guidestones as well. And on Friday, we will be having UFO stories. We're going to start doing that every Friday for a little bit until we get some stories coming in here to make our heads spin. So if you got a good one, get in here, call in. We'll open up the phone lines next week or on Friday night. Well, we'll do it every Friday night, but we'll do it this Friday night for sure. If you've got a UFO story, UFO witness, UFO testimony, whatever you got to talk about UFOs, call in on Friday night. I encourage you to go back and listen to Ellie Marzulli's broadcast from last week. I've been playing it a little bit over and over through the weekend because I play archived our material through the weekend here on GY Radio. Forgive us last night. We had a power outage for a few hours here. Some heavy storms moved in, so we were probably not streaming for a little while last night. Forgive us for that, out of our control. And study up on what all these things mean and what these Georgia Guidestones truly are. Because I'll tell you right now, they are an abomination. And we live in the abomination, don't we? So until next time, thanks for listening to Diffusion of Delusion Radio. I am Rando, your host on the GY Radio Network. Stay tuned for streaming audio throughout the early morning hours. And then we'll be bringing you some cool stuff tomorrow. Don't worry about the schedule. I'm going to have to work on that. So God bless you. Thanks for listening in. And until next time, take the name of Jesus with you. You're going to need it.